Algebra 1 students, welcome to your 8.3 lesson video. We're going to talk about multiplying binomials. Today the big idea that we're going to investigate is three distinctive yet similar ways to multiply binomials. Now I've given you the basic form and then also some examples of each, and then we'll do a little practice of all three. So first up is the distributive method. The distributive method consists of breaking apart your first grouping. So you can see I have an A here and then an A here and then I have a plus B here and I have a plus B here, where I basically separate that first group and multiply both terms by the second grouping. So A times C plus D and B times C plus D. Visually you might think of it looking something like this: A times C, A times D, and then B times C and B times D. And this is where we would go. Now to see that with some actual numbers and variables, you can see the example here. We've got x plus 3 times 2x minus 5. We break apart the first group, make it x plus 3, both terms, times 2x minus 5. Then our next step was to go ahead and distribute. So x times 2x and x times negative 5, 3 times 2x, and 3 times negative 5, and we get 2x squared minus 5x plus 6x minus 15, and of course those middle terms can be combined and your answer is down here. This example that you see here is the same example we're going to use for all three of the methods we investigate. Okay, the next method, and in my opinion probably the most popular, is the FOIL method, where you multiply the first terms, the outer terms, the inner, and then the last. So what does that mean? Well, first times first means A times C. Outer times outer, first term and last term, D times D. Inner times inner is B times C. And last times last is B times D. So first, outer, inner, and last. Taking that same example that we saw before, x plus 3 times 2x minus 5, that would mean we take first x times 2x, then x times negative 5, and you can see that written down here. Next we would do inner terms, 3 times 2x, and then the last terms, 3 times negative 5. This is really similar to the distributive property. As a matter of fact, all it is double distribution, where just the steps look a little different, but it's the same process. And you can see we'd get 2x squared minus 5x plus 6x minus 15. Again, the middle terms can be combined, and you get 2x squared plus x minus 15. All right, one more method we're going to look at is the table method. This one's a little bit different. It feels like it's not as much an algebraic process, but it really is using algebra still. We'll do something like a plus b times c plus d. So if we have a plus b times c plus d, what we would do is put the first terms on one side of the chart or table, and then the other two, c and d, on the other side, and then you multiply. So this column right here is a times c. This term right here comes from b times c, and so on. A times d, b times d, and then we add those four terms together. Let's take that same example we've used and see what it looks like here. So x plus 3 times 2x minus 5. I've done an x and a 3, and then I put a 2x, and notice I did negative 5 because of the minus sign. So then just start multiplying the terms. 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times 3 is 6x. Negative 5 times x would be negative 5x. And finally, negative 5 times 3 is negative 15. Put all those terms together down here, and we end up again with the exact same answer. Three methods all end up with the same result. Okay, so let's take a look at how we simplify using first the distributive method. So for number one, what I'm going to do is x plus 3 times x minus 8. So I'm going to rewrite this as x times x minus 8 plus 3 times x minus 8. And now we can just deal with single distribution problems like x times x is x squared. X times negative 8 would give me a negative 8x. 3 times x, and then 3 times negative 8, which we know is negative 24. When we FOIL, the vast majority of the time we're going to find that we have terms we need to combine, and I can see that right here with the negative 8x and the positive 3x. So what I'll do is x squared minus 5x minus 24. There's our answer. All right, let's try another one. Number two, x minus 6 times 2x plus 5. We're going to use the same method. We'll do x times 2x plus 5 minus 6 times 2x plus 5. And again, we'll go ahead and do our distribution. X times 2x would be 2x squared. X times 5 is 5x. Negative 6 times 2x would be negative 12x. And negative 6 times 5 minus 30. Again, the middle terms can be combined. So we'll do 2x squared minus 7x minus 30. All right, let's try a new method here. The FOIL method. Now again, remember FOIL stands for first, outer, inner, and last. So I'm going to start by doing first times first. That would give me 10x squared. Next, I'm going to do outer times outer. 2x times negative 1 is minus 2x. Then inner. Negative 1 times 5x would give me a negative 5x. And finally, the last term, negative 1 times negative 1 gives me positive 1. All right, let's go ahead and combine like terms. We can see that we have some like terms in the middle here again. So we've got 10x squared minus 7x plus 1. All right, let's use the same process on number 4, the FOIL method. First times first would give us x squared. Outer times outer plus 7x. Inner times inner gives us minus 7x. And then finally, last times last gives us minus 49. Again, we have like terms to combine. We run into a little different situation here in that we have a plus 7x and a minus 7x. They cancel each other out. That's simply x squared minus 49. We'll actually look more at cases like this in the next section, 8.4. All right, and then the third method, the table method. So what we'll do here is let's go ahead and set this up. I'm going to do an x and a 2, and then an x and a negative 7. Now it doesn't matter which term goes on the top and which term goes on the left. It just matters that all terms get included. All right, so the first box comes from doing x times x, which we know to be x squared. This right here, this box comes from x times 2, so that's 2x. This box is negative 7 times x, and then we'll have a negative 14. Now to finish the job, we actually have to combine all four of these terms, so I'll go ahead and write them all out. X squared plus 2x minus 7x minus 14. And make sure you know, again, common terms, got to combine them. So x squared minus 5x minus 14. All right, why don't you guys pause the video and do number 6 on your own. See how that table method works for you. Okay, you can see my work on number 6. Compare it to yours and see what you think. All right, let's take a look at the last two questions. Now these say solve by any method. We do run into something here though. Notice that in this case x squared plus 5x minus 3. We have a trinomial, a quadratic trinomial. We can't use the FOIL method. With a trinomial, we'd have to choose between our distributive method or the table method. So I'll use the distributive method on 7 and the table method on 8 so you can kind of see how those two would compare. So here we go with the distributive method. Again, remember to break apart the first grouping. So then I'll have plus 3 times the same trinomial, x squared plus 5x minus 3. Now we'll go ahead and distribute. So x cubed plus 5x squared minus 3x. Now I'm ready for the next term. So plus 3x squared plus 15x minus 9. So again, I have the job to combine all like terms. I notice there's only one x cubed term. It's right there. But notice that I have a 5x squared and a 3x squared. I can add those together. Also, I have minus 3x and plus 15x, so that sums to 12x, and then I have a minus 9 out there all alone. All right, there's that method. Let's try the table method and see how that works for us. Again, a lot of this is just going to be personal preference. I want you to be comfortable with all three methods, but there are going to be times where you're going to have to make a decision on what works best for you. So see if you can get an idea. What do you like best? What things do you like about one method compared to others? What things do you dislike about methods compared to other methods? All right. One thing I don't like is having to draw the table. But it's okay because it's actually a pretty good method and it makes it simple for us to find all the terms. So here we go. X times x squared would be x cubed. X times 5x, 5x squared. X times 3 is 3x. Negative 7 times x squared. Negative 7 times 5x. And negative 7 times 3. So we did come up with 6 terms, which we're okay with that. We're just going to have to do some combining of like terms, it appears, at some point. So let's see what we come up with. All right, I see that we have two x squared terms. I also see that we have two terms that have an x to the first. So I can go ahead and do the combining. X cubed minus 2x squared minus 32x minus 21. You have a question just below this video on the page. Make sure you take a look at that and answer it thoughtfully. Have a lovely day.